Hi everyone, welcome back to Tech Booth. Today we start a series where we're going to be talking about camera lenses. Today we want to look at the numbers and letters on your lens, see what they mean and how they can help you to choose the right lens for your photography. We're going to focus on 3 or 4 main numbers and letters that you'll find on your lens, even though there are multiple things that you'll find on different lenses. We won't cover everything. To start off with, I have these 2 lenses. One is for Minolta camera and another one is for Canon. And when you look at the lens on the front, the first letter or first letters on those lenses, for this one is MD and for this one it's written EF. Those letters refer to the mounting of the lens. So the back side of this lens for this one and this one are different, and that tells you which camera this will mount onto. So that's the first thing you have to be really aware of when you're buying lenses, that you buy the correct lens, especially if you're buying lenses that are not branded with the same name as the camera that you're going to be using, and sometimes that is written on the front. If it's not, then you need to find out that you're getting the right mount for your camera. The second thing we want to look at is focal length. For prime lenses, you'll have one figure that tells you what the focal length is. So 50 millimeters, that's the focal length. This is another prime lens from Rokinon, and this is a 35 millimeter lens. It does not zoom in and out, so it has only one focal length. You'll see only one figure there. If you're dealing with zoom lenses, you will get 2 figures or a range. And so for this one, you have 70 to 300. That means this lens can zoom from 70 millimeters focal length to 300 millimeters focal length. So you get these zoom lenses in different ranges. This one is 70 to 300, but you also get other lenses like this one. Lumix is 14 to 140. So if you're going to be shooting things that are really far away, you want to have a longer focal length lens. The next number we want to look at is called your maximum aperture. On most lenses, it will be written as a ratio. So in this case, you have 1 and then a colon 4 to 5.6. So what that tells you is the maximum aperture for this lens is 1/4 to 1/5.6. Now aperture refers to the opening in your lens. So when you look at this lens, it opens and closes as I move the aperture ring. And so the number that you see on your lens is the maximum aperture for that lens. So in this case, I have a 1.7 lens. This is the Minolta 1.7. So the maximum aperture or f-stop on this lens is 1.7. Aperture obviously affects the amount of light that you can get into your lens. So if you have a very large aperture lens, it means you can get more light, and that means you can shoot in low light conditions. But aperture also affects the blurriness of the background. So for portrait photography, these lenses are really good because you get a very sharp image, and then when you shoot at those very wide apertures, you get nice blurry background, or in photography terms it's called bokeh, and so your subject stands out. And so if you're going to be shooting a lot of portrait photography, you want to look at lenses that have these wide apertures. For prime lenses, you get only one figure showing you the maximum aperture of that lens. But for zoom lenses, you get a range, just like the range that you get for your focal length. The range that you are given for aperture on zoom lenses means that when your lens is at its shortest focal length, the maximum diameter, the maximum opening that you can get, which is measured in f-stops on this lens, will be 4, as is written. And then when you zoom all the way out to 300 millimeters, the maximum opening that you can get on this lens becomes 5.6. So the maximum opening goes down as you zoom in. It's not fixed. But you also get lenses that zoom in and out but have a fixed maximum aperture. And those lenses are really expensive but are really good lenses. The next thing we want to look at is this number with an oval or a circle with a line through it, and it's written 58 millimeters. And what that refers to is your filter diameter. Basically, it is the diameter of your lens, and you want to know that diameter for you to be able to buy the right size lens caps, also the right size lens filters that fit your camera. So that's your lens diameter. Those are the main numbers that you need to know as you are looking at a lens and what they mean. But you also have a lot of other different things that are written on your lens. Let's just look at a few of those. One of the things that you'll see is a figure on the side with a distance. For this lens, it says 1.5/4.9 feet. It's the same distance, and that is called the minimum focusing distance. And all it means is if you get any closer than 1.5 meters to your subject with this lens, it will not be able to focus. Some other things you may find on your lens would be your autofocus and manual focus switch. This switch can be quite tricky because some lenses will have this autofocus, manual focus on the lens itself, but the camera also has a manual autofocus switch. So if you're trying to shoot in autofocus mode and you switch to autofocus on your camera, but you forget to switch the lens to autofocus, your lens will not respond and you won't be able to get focus. Other lenses have got stabilization built into the lens, so you have switches to switch on and off that stabilization in the lens. And there you are. Those are the main numbers and letters that are on your lens and what they mean and how they can help you in choosing the right lens for your camera. We're going to continue with this series and look at some other aspects of lenses. So make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon to see when I upload the next episode in this lens series. See you next time on Tech Booth.